one of the staff members for the Historic Resources Commission. These marker unveilings are one of the most joyful things we do, and for this one, you all really need to thank J.P. Beatty. He was tremendous in advocating for this neighborhood and talking about the things that were important to you. So I'd like to call him up now for a welcome. Thank you.
Well, welcome. I'm welcoming myself home. And hello, hometown neighbors, classmates, buddies, friends, family. I'll tell you, it's always such a pleasure for me to come home. And this is home for me. Now, I know they ran me out of Winston-Salem about 30 years ago. Told me I was causing too much trouble, get out of here. But, but when I come home, this is home. I live in Atlanta, but Winston-Salem is home. It's where my heart is. So I won't hold you up because I know it's hot out here. I'll come back and say a few things later on. But right now, I'd like to bring up Apostle Ed Allen for an invocation. Brother? And Ed is a member of our Paisley Alumni Association.
Blessings to everyone. I am thankful to be here today, to our city officials, especially our mayor and Mayor Pro Tem, and to all of my classmates, schoolmates, those who welcomed me here in 1963 when we moved from East Winston over here to Boston. And I am appreciative today of the legacy that was left in me and that we have to carry forward. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who has brought us thus on the way, you are still the one who is responsible for bringing us this far. Today, sir, we offer thanks especially for this occasion. We offer thanks for the families that have comprised this great neighborhood of Boston in times past and present. We offer thanks for this community and its rich heritage. We offer thanks for parents who, in spite of Jim Crow, in spite of separate but not so equal, limited finance, limited employment and educational opportunities for themselves, have left rich legacies in their children who are yet enriching this city and wherever you have led them. We pause at this time to ask your forgiveness for our hard-headedness and hard-heartedness, first toward you and your commandments, but also toward one another. Forgive this nation, Lord, for allowing the sins of racism, sexism, religious intolerance, ageism, and any other hatred to thrive and prosper despite and during times of prosperity. In the aftermath of gun violence here in America, we pray for those families and communities negatively affected by these events. Your word declares that you are a very present help in times of trouble. Now, Lord, we ask that you will bless the city and county municipal leadership with your wisdom, your righteousness, your courage, and your integrity. Now may the grace of Almighty God, the sweet communion of the Holy Spirit, rest, rule, and abide with us, now, henceforth, and forever. And God's people said, amen, 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 and amen.
Thank you, Apostle. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Alan Joines, Mayor of Winston-Salem, and let me add my welcome to you as well. JP, you're never not at home, man. You're always here. It's good to see JP and the other brothers that are here. We're welcome today with our Mayor Pro Tem, Denise Adams, who we'll hear from in a moment, Councilmember Barbara Haynes Burke, and Councilmember John Larson are with us, as well as we're delighted to have our Representative Amber Baker with us today. As was said, these unveilings and placement, really more importantly, the placements of these historic markers throughout our city. It's such an important way of recognizing the history, the past, the things that have happened in our city, and not letting us forget the important things that happen in these neighborhoods and these areas as we go forward. The Historic Marker Program is one of the best programs I think that the city has as we continue to not forget these important places in our community. So right now I'm going to, again, it is hot. We're going to move forward quickly with this. I'm going to call on our Mayor Pro Tem Denise Adams for comments, and then if Councilmember Burke and Councilmember Larson would like to add comments, please come on up. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. Like the mayor said, you see my head, it's hot out here. I want to thank everybody for coming today. I want to thank J.P. Beatty and all of those who worked so diligently to get this marker done. A lot of people don't know the work that goes into when you want a historical marker. It also costs a little bit of money. I want to thank the Paisley High School Alumni Association for their strong leadership in this community that has never wavered, even though they took your school and changed it to something else. At least you had the pleasure of keeping the name. But the Paisley Alumni Association, I lived on the street, Gillette Street, right over there, right where Paisley is. This little white house that looked like it don't even belong there, just sits there by itself, and it's still there. And I remember watching those Paisley High School black students with their Sunday's best on, dressing and dancing those Friday night dances in the cafeteria, and watching them go to school and sliding down that hill in the summer on the grass on cardboard and playing kickball and softball in the lot beside our house. I remember running through the backyards of all of these communities in this area. But the one thing that I am, don't get me wrong and don't get it twisted, I was born and raised basically in Boston area. I live over off Polo, but I grew up on Okalana, which is there with Greenway and Montrose off Glen. You know, a lot of people want to think that this is the culmination of Boston. Boston spreads all the way up to 25th Street, all the way back over to Patterson, all the way back down to Northwest Boulevard. We are present and we are here. I want to thank our Historic Markers Commission. I want to thank all of the board members that are here. If you'll raise your hand, please. I know they're going to do that later, but if you just raise your hands. I'd like to also thank our city staff that worked on this. We have our city manager here, Lee Garrity. We have Aaron King, the assistant manager of planning that's over this area. Michelle, Heather, and everybody, our marketing people who be out here in the heat all the time. I want to thank that team because a lot of times we forget about the people that help us to get stuff done. I believe in making sure that they are recognized for what they do because they carry the water. I also want to let this neighborhood know I've heard from you today. In the short time I've been here, they told me what they wanted me to know. They said, you know what, DD? We ain't seen this many people over here cleaning up our streets since we lived here. See, I ain't scared to say when I'm called to task. But I promise you I will do better. And that I can make that promise to you today. Again, I just want you to understand, and I know it's hard. We are so short-staffed. We pulled people today that normally pick up sanitation and stuff to get them over here. But I wanted you to know that every neighborhood is important to me. But any neighborhood that helped me to become who I am now, you got my heart, and I hope I have yours. Thank you so much. Councilmember Barbara Burke, please.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Good afternoon, everyone. I echo everything that Mayor Pro Tem said. And I also want to say I am so happy and so proud to be here because I am a byproduct of Boston, the Boston Thurman community. Many of you knew my family, the Haynes family, right off Thurman Street, right off 13th Street. Many of you knew that my uncle, Teacup, was the principal at Paisley for years. So, and as a little girl, I grew up attending church right here on Thurman at St. Holmes, and I see some of my church members, Artisa, Jeanette. I see so many of you right now. So this is home for me. This is where my family is. My grandparents' home, it still exists. And my daddy's youngest sister is still living, and she's still in the home. And you all knew There were a lot of them. There were 7 boys and 2 girls. So my family, this was the home place for us. So I'm just so proud to be part of this marker unveiling. Again, I want to echo what Mayor Pro Tem said. I'm grateful to all who participated and had any part in making this happen. This is a proud day for me. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm John Larson, South Ward Council member. I ran a campaign that ran on the slogan, "Strong neighborhoods make a strong city." And we have so many good neighborhoods in this town that are not recognized. And fortunately, we now have the opportunity to put a marker and memorialize this neighborhood, which all you got to do is sort of look around and see the houses, see the kind of neighborhood, the churches, and have a sense of community that has developed over the years and years and years of occupancy. Sort of one of my favorite indicators of history is granite curbing. And you can look around and you can see early in this city that Public Works went in and put in granite curbing in our neighborhoods. In this neighborhood, all you got to do is look down and you can see the granite curbing in the streets and know that this neighborhood has a deep, long history of people occupying this space. So congratulations today on a great neighborhood. The marker will memorialize it for other people to see and remind themselves of it. Generations coming ahead will know what this place was about. So thank you and congratulations.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. What a great way to kick off our Juneteenth celebration. Yes. And so I'm Representative Amber Baker. I represent District 72, in which Boston is a part of my district. But more importantly, I am your neighbor. I live right here on 25th Street. Right. Some of you see my car coming through here every day, right? I was the principal, the proud principal of Kimberly Park Elementary School for 13 years. Many of you came through. Y'all don't say Kimberly Park, y'all say Kimberly. That's right. And in another 2 years, we will be doing something grand again to celebrate the centennial of Kimberly. Kimberly Park is the oldest school in our district. Not the oldest elementary school, the oldest school that has remained open continuously except for the year that it burned down. And that's just something to be celebrated. You know, I wasn't born in Winston, but that doesn't mean I don't love Winston. And sometimes the home that you choose is just as important to you because a lot of thought went into making the decision to make this your home. And I've learned a lot about the city because of these historical markers. And a lot of times it saddens me to see all of the black communities that have gone by the wayside and all we have to memorialize it is those markers. But the great thing about Boston, we still here and we're still strong. So this historical marker is not representing a community that is not still thriving, but rather it memorializes a community that continues to be the center and the heartbeat of what we do in this city. And so I thank you for allowing me to continue to serve you. I thank the city for making sure that I am always where I need to be, and I will always be just a door knock away, or my doorbell don't ring, so don't ring my doorbell. You have to knock on the door. Or if you feel like pulling me over when you see that car come flying through here. I mean not flying, I mean driving through here carefully, slowly with my seatbelt on. Flag me down. So once again, congratulations, community, and this is a great day, and I am just humbled and honored to be here to celebrate with you today.
Thank you, Representative Baker. We're going to move forward now with the program. I'm going to ask JP to come back up and introduce the song, and then if you would, introduce the rest of the program. So JP.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, city. Thank you, the Historical Resource Commission. Thank you, everyone. And, you know, speaking of talented folks and gifted folks from this neighborhood, we're going to bring up a young lady. She was my little bitty sister back in the day, but this lady can sing, y'all. So we're going to bring up Jackie St. Clair, and she's going to do a rendition of The Impossible Dream. Come on up here, Jackie.
I used to be a background singer. I did. She'll tell you. All right.
Y'all know I'm nervous.
No, come on, Jackie.
You know what? This is special for me today because life is not measured by the number of breath we take, but the moments that take our breath away. And today is doing it for me. I grew up 809 West 25th Street, the big white house, and they done cut my tree down, but it's okay. So just bear with me. To dream the impossible dream, to fight the unbeatable foe, to bear with unbearable sorrow, to run where the brave dare not go, to right the unrightable wrong, to love pure and chaste from afar, to try when your arms are too weary, to reach the unreachable star. This is my quest, to follow that star, no matter how hopeless, no matter how far, to fight for the right without question or pause, to be willing to march into hell for a heavenly cause. And I know if I only be true to this glorious quest, that my heart will lie peaceful and calm till I'm laid to my rest. And the world will be better for this. That one man, scorned and covered with scars, still strove with his last ounce of courage to reach the unreachable star, to reach the unreachable star. Oh, yes. Amen.
Nice job.
Now that's bringing tears to my eyes, and I'm not a crybaby. Thank you, Jackie. At this point, we'd like to bring up some folks, or the representative for the Historic Resource Commission. This group has been, I can't tell you how helpful they have been in helping pull this all together. Ms. Heather Bratland and her team. So I'd like to bring up right now C.J. Idle from the Historic Resource Commission.
So if you talk to anybody on the Historic Resources Commission that knows me very well, I'm not one that's usually at a loss for words, but the turnout today, the community response, and the fact that you're all allowing me here to speak today has just touched me so deeply. and I can't begin to express my gratitude for what this community has brought forth and what I've been able to learn through this process and learn about this community and how great it is. So, as Mr. Beatty just said, I'm CJ Idle. I'm the Vice Chair of the Historic Resources Commission. And on behalf of the Commission, I'd like to thank y'all for being here and during this heat. And I'd like to ask the Commission member and our staff to please raise their hands and be recognized, because I'm just one part of it. We can't do it. I can't do it without any of these people. And part of what makes today feel so special to me is that it's part of this longer weekend of this holiday of Juneteenth. And I was running a little bit later than I would like to have come here, and I got to hear this wonderful interview by Miss Opal Lee, who was hopefully mostly responsible for making this a national holiday. And just hearing her enthusiasm and her excitement and what this holiday meant for her, and I'm sure what it means for everybody else here, is just, it just ties into the emotion and just makes everything about today so much more special. The first local historic markers were installed in 2001. To date, we have placed over 65 markers throughout Forsyth County. These markers help residents remember and learn about important places, events, and people in the community's collective histories. And these markers identify a place on the landscape in history that should not be forgotten. And this marker, I'll admit, was not the easiest for us to do. There were divisions within the commission. At times, there seemed to be divisions between the commission and the Paisley Alumni Association, who helped make this marker possible. But that's okay. These conversations, these controversies that arise while we go through this historical process, that's what's important to the process. My Shiro, Ms. Cheryl Harry, recently said, we're trying to build a community here in Winston-Salem and Forsyth County that celebrates its inclusivity and its diversity. And through these divisions that we sometimes come across in this historical process, we're able to highlight that inclusivity and really bring that diversity to light, and that makes us a stronger community in the end. So even though this was not the easiest marker, this is my favorite marker by far because of that division and that conversation it spurred on. And so as we celebrate the Boston community in Alta Vista, I want to point out a few things that we've got going on right here on the landscape where this marker is going. Right next to us is the house of Mr. John and Ada Adams, who were co-founders of the Safe Bus Company. Then they later sold the house to Miss Delphine Morgan, who was the widow of the co-founder, Mr. Ralph Morgan. And I'd like to point out today that the city was generous enough to bring with us their own Safe Bus Company bus. At one point, Safe Bus was the country's largest black-owned and operated transportation system, and I had an opportunity, and I encourage you all, I know it's hot in there, but please stick with it. It is worth going in there. I get very romantic about material culture like this. Go in there and feel the stories and the history and the people who rode on this bus and how this bus helped connect this community to the larger city, and really hear those stories and feel those stories that all of you were a part of. Because in the end, as we go through and we talk about the important people that lived and made this community, it's not just their community, it's y'all's community, and that's what's important. Without y'all, this community isn't what it is. And I want to thank you for being here, and thank you all for enduring this heat today.
Thank you, CJ. Appreciate that. And yes, make sure you take a tour of the bus, because this was the bus stop. I want to bring up now one of my best buddies from way back from high school, junior high school, Mr. Miles Harry. Miles is here to represent Paisley Alumni. Paisley's alumni is amazing. It's been around a long time. They do so many quiet things in the community that you would not even know. So Miles is going to let you know some of the amazing things they do throughout the city to make this city much, much better. All right, Miles Harry.
Hello, fellow Bostonians and friends, and we want to thank all of the officials here. You know, I'm proud to stand here today. I mean, you know, this used to be a part of my paper route, you know. I would catch the bus here, get off the bus here, and I'd go right up that path behind Miss Brundle's house, you know, and get on Cannon and go straight down. You could go straight down there to Cannon, you know. That was, you know, this is my home. Now, I don't stay here anymore, but this will always be my home. Now, when we talk about Boston, back in the day, the boundaries of Boston was really construed by, where Safe Bus went. Where Safe Bus went and what school you went to. The most western part was down here where Dr. Coleman and Dr. Smith and the preachers and, prominent African Americans, that's the most western. The most northern side was Shorefare Drive and Cherry Hills. That's right. The most eastern was Patterson. That's right. Patterson. The most southerly was 8th Street down there by Oak and the White Sands. I don't know if you know anything about that, but that's going on back. And all those people went to school at Kimberly and Carver Chris. They call it Cook now, but it was Carver Chris. So I'm just proud to say that I'm here to represent Paisley. Now, the Paisley Alumni Association, what we are about is sustaining our legacy. Bringing the past to the present and making sure that the future is taken care of. You know what I'm saying? We do a lot of things in the community. During Thanksgiving, we give baskets. Thanksgiving and Christmas, we give baskets out to needy families. We get with the schools and find out who needs what to be done. You know what I'm saying? And we have a memorial down there, a memorial wall that has bricks of all the people who went to Paisley Junior and Senior High School. And then we have history about the principals and the teachers. And that's a living memorial so that our children will know their legacies, that they will be proud of their heritage. And we want to make sure that the heritage is right, that it's correct. Not somebody else's definition, but the definition of the people who were here. Now, we also, like right now, we'll help sponsoring the Juneteenth Queen thing tonight. So if tonight, if $25, that money goes to help young black ladies go to school. So that's tonight at 7 o'clock, I think. So that's something else we do. But whatever it is, come to us. We can help. That's what we do. That's what we are. Paisley Alumni is, with our leader, Ray Ledbetter, we try to do the best that we can to sustain and help the community. Now, we'll have some mementos, some lights, some pens, and if you want to join the Paisley Alumni, it's $100 for dues. That's $8.33 a month. But, so, if you come, we got a tent over here. After it's over, go over there and check us out. We got some mementos, and I think you'll enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Miles. I want to bring up next a young lady that got me involved in this, and without her diligent sticking to it, making things happen. I know they kept calling my name, but this young lady was the one that initiated all this. Again, my sister that grew up right behind us, played as kids in the neighborhood, and I want to bring up my sister, Miss Brenda Miller Galloway, and she called me and said, "Booby." That's right, y'all know me, I'm Booby. All had nicknames, and I still call myself Booby. So don't come up here and come out, "Hey, JP." If you knew me from when, I'm Booby. And she said they want to put a mark up at our neighborhoods, and I know that you've done these videos on the Black history of Winston-Salem and leadership. Can you help us out? And of course, I jumped right in, rolled my sleeves up, and we've been rocking and rolling ever since. So come on up here, Brenda. Thank you so very much. Love you.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Yes, I called on JP, Booby, and I said, "Booby, I need your help." So he jumped right on board. I didn't have to beg him. I didn't have to do anything. He said, "I got it." And he got it, and he took it on, moved forward. I love him. And then I said, "Booby," I said, "can you call Coot and Wolf?" I said, they might know some of the people that lived in the community that we don't know anything about. I was sitting at my kitchen table when I called him. This is where I do my most thinking. So I sit down there for the longest during the evening. And we all at first it started out as Boston Preservation Group. This is where it started. And I had Renee Shove, Artisa Bohannon, Joy Sims. Artisa, you here? Okay. Anyone else here? Is Joy down here? Okay. Renee. Hi, Renee. I didn't see you back there. Okay. All right. But that's how we got started. And then I know this was going to grow. And I said, my goodness. And that's how I called Booby. Because I knew, like he said, he had been working on Black history, filming and doing things like that. And I knew he was the person to call. So he got on board. I'm not going to talk a whole lot. Also, Phil from Renault Museum. Where is Phil? Is he still? There he is. And then there was also Miss Cindy Scar. And they talked to me how I really got started. They talked with me when they had the Kent marker put up out here going that way. It was a Kent marker park for the park. And they approached me and asked me, hey, people are interested in Alta Vista, but most of you who are here that grew up in Boston knew nothing about Alta Vista. They did not know. And the only reason I know is because my father, when I was growing up, told me about Alta Vista. And I said, okay, it was Alta Vista, but all of us know it as Boston. Boston. So, all right, Boston. Because the ones that are living now, I mean, as children, it was Alta Vista, but you never knew about it. But this community was built in 1927, and they built houses for our Black professionals. Back then, our Black professionals also, like the doctors and stuff, but they included the workers, tobacco workers, people that worked in service. I mean, you know, that was people that were making money back then. If you worked for white people, and you had a job, you know, and that's how it all began. 1927, and then everything just grew. Boston. Let me hear everybody say Boston. Okay, I'm not gonna say much more. So, but I just want to know let you know how everything got started. And then Mr. JP gonna come up and finish the rest. Thank you all. Have a good day.
She got it confused. It's not Mr. JP. Y'all know what it is. That's right. All right, look, we've been out here about 35 minutes, and we ought to keep you out here much longer, but let me just kind of put my spin on a couple of things and just whatever. And I had to put my eyeballs on so I can see what I'm talking about. Okay, I like to call this a celebration and an education. And some of the things that I'm going to mention are the same things that Brenda just mentioned and Miles mentioned, that until this was taking place, and I grew up in this neighborhood, and with pride, I say I'm now 74 years old, which I'm like, 74 or was that 47? I forgot which. But it's been blessed. From the time I came home from Kate B. Reynolds Memorial Hospital, I came here on 25th Street. My grandmother's house was right over here, and we were all living there for a year, and then we moved up into our family home, which we've had and been there forever, okay? So this is home. So let me just say a couple of things, okay? Again, reiterating what Brenda said, 1927, this was originally called Alta Vista, and it was built for, quote, professional Black people. And like Brenda said, what was considered professional Black people at the time? If you were the head of staff for some of the wealthy folks that lived out in Reynolda Road, Reynolda Village, then yeah, that was considered a professional job, and it was a doggone good job. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you were able to have a nice home. So Alta Vista was built. Now, originally, the boundaries of Alta Vista was only a few streets, and folks that moved in here and with the help of some of their wealthy employees, they were able to build and put up some nice big two-story houses compared to some of the smaller houses that were around. And it became a neighborhood where they said, oh, we can't put apartments in here because they wanted a higher level of living. We all do. That was great. But what happened? It wasn't long in the 1930s, from 3 years later or so, this started developing into a mixed income, mixed employment, mixed professional neighborhood that consisted of business owners, domestic workers, factory workers, doctors, lawyers, state assemblymen, federal judge, president of Safe Bus Company. We have come out this community 2 assistant city managers. We have the first black woman police chief, Lil Diane, who grew up here. I mean, this community has brought about, and not only this community, it happens all over Winston-Salem, but this community brought about some very good professional people that help better the whole city of Winston-Salem. And how did it happen? It happened because our parents, our grandparents busted their butts as servants, as factory workers, to make sure that we had a place to live and a place to eat. But I'll also tell you this, not one time did any of my friends, my mother, anybody's family that was doing domestic work or type, did they come home and say, I want you to do this kind of work. I want you to be a butler. I want you to be a maid. You know what they came home and said? You better do good in school. You better do good in school. Don't be down there cutting up, because I want you to get a better career and a better job than what I'm doing. As a result, the majority of the people in this neighborhood, whether it was the Cheeks or the Allens or everybody, Poodoo, Doc, everybody, all my buddies, friends, the Sock Wills, everybody we grew up with, all of them, everybody went on and developed careers, had better lifestyles than their parents, and they made their parents proud. That's why we're here today. Our parents and grandparents built this community. They didn't run away through tough times. They fought it out. And it was a nice, safe community. Y'all think about growing up here. We could play all day, all night. We didn't have to worry about crime. Wasn't nobody breaking in your house. The windows and doors were open because we didn't have air conditioning. Nobody broke in your house. You know? And then we walked to school. And think about walking down to Kimberly now. You'd be out of breath before you got 2 feet. We walked to Kimberly and play and run all day long. And then you go down there and you had caring teachers that cared. They weren't going to put up with your craziness, no foolishness. Because they were back then, you know, they put the Board of Education on you. And then tell your parents, and you got it again when you got it. I say, well, please, Mr. Dixon, just whip me, but don't tell my mama, you know. But this is the kind of community that we developed, and that's why we are friends today. We've known folks since we were in the first grade at Kimberly, all the way through junior high school, through Paisley, and here we are today, 60, 70, 80 years old, and we know each other. And I can tell you, honest to God, when I come home, I don't have to walk up and introduce myself and say, hey, you remember me? I'm James Beatty. They were like, boy, what's wrong with you? Hey, booby, what's going on, man? That's friendship. That's what community builds, when you have a community like we grew up in and built. And we want to preserve that, okay? This community is changing. Everything changes. It's changing demographically, and it's moving forward. One thing we want to make sure that remains here, and this mark is going to help us do it, is our history. We don't want it to be erased or faded away. This is Boston. It was Alta Vista back in 1927. America was called something else before Columbus came over here and changed the names of it, okay? This is Boston. We developed this in Boston. Somebody said, well, how did it become Boston? I got a theory. And here's my theory. 1926, Safe Bus was started, and they were running around, driving all over. I may be wrong. This is the booby theory. But here's the deal. Boston Cottages, down on Thurman, it was a community for black folks. And it was called little shotgun houses and all that kind of crap. And then when folks moved up here in Alta Vista, I live in Alta Vista. Where you live? I live in Boston College. Oh, yeah. That crap was there for a hot minute. Not long. But as the bus made its route through the neighborhoods, Alta Vista, quote, became Boston. Boston boundaries expanded to take on Morewell. Anybody ever heard of Morewell? I never heard of it, but that was up there right off of Cherry Street. All these little neighborhoods. Boston expanded. And like Dee Dee said, it expanded all the way south down to Boulevard now, all the way over to Liberty Street now, because once you cross Liberty Street, then you're in East Winston. It went all the way west to Arbor Road, and it went all the way north over to the Chamber of Commerce and Coliseum Drive area. So all of this was Boston. Whether you live in Kimberly Projects or whether you live down on Thurman, whatever, hey, this was Boston. And the bus, as it would make it runs throughout the community, it had on it Boston 25th. That was the name. That was what you called downtown when you was leaving the Lincoln Theater coming over here to Boston. So that name, Boston, again, my theory is that it took on the name of Boston Colleges and 25th Street because that was what's on the bus sign. And then if you were catching the bus every day like all of us were because, well, I didn't have cars, so you thought, oh, I'm catching Boston 25th. And you knew you was coming over in this section of town and not going to Happy Hill Garden or to Columbia Heights. So I think that from the Boston Cottage and the 25th, as this neighborhood continued to expand, it just became known generically as Boston. And that's what has always been our heart, our name for this community. And going forward, we want to make sure that name is preserved. And I recognize it was called Alta Vista in 1927. But our hearts, our memories, our dedication, our hard work for our parents made this Boston. And I'm not going to talk out here all day long. But let me tell you one other thing about parents, and then I'll sit my little skinny behind down. Parents worked hard. Mr. Miller, Miss Miller, I remember growing up. You know, I mean, and they were good parents. And whether you had a parent like my mother raising 7 children by herself and working in a tobacco factory at Winston-Salem Tobacco Factory, coming home covered in dust, and then going and clean up, doing domestic work during the day, or whether you were Rick Irvin, whose daddy was an attorney. None of the parents was down here saying, oh, don't play with Miss Beatty's children because she's working in a tobacco factory. No, none of us, they didn't play that I'm up elite game around here. Mr. Irvin be out there pitching baseball with us, me and Ken Cheek and Lester Boyd and all of us in the summer. And what was his message to us? How's it going in school? Keeping your grades up. You know, those are the messages. Those are the encouraging words. And being around people, your teachers living in your neighborhood, Miss Bohannon, you know, all your teachers and doctors, growing up in a neighborhood where you can see people doing professional things, well, you know, it doesn't make it seem like it's impossible. Like Jackie's song, The Impossible Dream. It doesn't seem impossible because it's like, oh, Mr. Adams is live right next door to me. He's the president of Safe Bus Company. Oh, okay, yeah. But he was just a regular guy to us. So that inspired us. My mama, again, personal story, I don't get too much of my person, but I have to say this because I'm proud. All y'all knew my mama. Beautiful smile, welcoming personality. Our home was a 2-bedroom house and 1 bath, but I'm going to tell you, it was like the recreation center. My buddy Lester Boyd down here, his son was going to originally say the invocation, but he ended up couldn't make it today. But I'd come home and Lester be at my house more than I'd be there, laying out on the floor watching TV with my brothers and sisters. But here's the deal. Because of my mother's hard work and dedication, raising 7 children, 5 boys, 2 girls by herself, and with love and dignity, not threatening, and my big brothers and sisters pitched in every way from since I was a little kid and helped my mama. As a result, my mama's children became teachers, principals, corporate supervisors, corporate administrators, and one of them was crazy enough to start his own business. So, and that's because of the love and the dedication of Miss Dora P. Beatty. But that's not just in my house. Everybody here got a story to tell. And I want you to tell your story because when this is over, if you want to stick around maybe another day, it's hot. I'm going to do a documentary on this. I got my little camera rolling. But I want to come back and hear your stories because we got to preserve this history of Boston. We got to do service. Why? We, my generation, my friends, we are, think about it, we are the last generation that can tell the story of Boston, Winston-Salem's black history that actually lived it, that actually rode the safe bus, that actually went to the all-black high schools, that actually were born at Kate B. Reynolds Hospital and delivered by black doctors, black nurses, and black administrators that managed everything. We're the last generation, y'all. Because my young brother, Paul, where are you, Paul? Well, he's around somewhere. He's back over there hiding. When Paul finished, in 69, 70 something, the schools have been integrated. He ended up going to North Forsyth or somewhere else. The class of 68 at Pace was the last one to get out of there. So we got to tell our story. And I'm not going to talk to you up here all day long because I love you and I know it's hot out there. But I want to say a couple other things. I want to, again, thank the Paisley Alumni Association so much. Without them, we wouldn't be here. Again, this is what friendship and family is about. When I can call and say, Ray, hey, man, they talking about put the mark up and, you know, we need to raise some funds. He didn't say, well, I don't know, man. He's like, let's do it. We got the money. I said, no, I don't want to take the money out of Paisley's funds. Let's just do a GoFundMe. Put a GoFundMe up and boom, boom, boom. People dropping money in left and right saying, hey, yeah, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's preserve our history. So real quickly, last thing I want to say and do is thank you to Paisley. Thank you to Heather Bratland and the Historic Resource Commission. Thank you, Mayor Allen Jones. And let me say something else. Mayor Jones has been a great guy. He knew my brother. We way back when my brother Al was there. Y'all remember Dank. They got a building named after me. I ride by it, I smile. I say, oh, big head boy, they put a building up after you? Because we all love him. He was smart, but he was also a crazy boy when you knew him. I want to thank all of you. Dee Dee, thank you all. Thank you so very much. And I want to do one last thing. Give me 2 minutes. I want to thank the people that pitched in. I'm just going to run down this list real quick. Folks that pitched in their money, they can use it to buy gas now that it's $20 a gallon. They said, no, we're going to pitch in and help put the mark up. So if you're here, please just raise your hand. Just let folks know that you are a patriot of this community. All right, I got Cope Benson, Miriam Wagner, Kay Hampton, Benjamin Simmons, Dolores McGregor, Callista Ramsur Green, Wayman Berry, Willard Coker, Edward Allen, Betty Smith, Joanne Duncan, Carolyn Hampton, Carolyn Carter, Robert Noble, Marsha Jeffries, Ronald McCullough, Treva Johnson-Jones, Carolyn Crosby, Ray Ledbetter, Nathaniel Goodson, Cecilia McDaniel, Janice Beatty Hamilton, Helene Kennedy, Billy Friend, Ike Mullins, Wanda Reeder, Vance Clark, Sam Hamlin, Deborah Hauser Odom, Linda Barrington, Troy Gentry, Isaiah Black, Linda Wharton Coaxum, Avianne Wharton, Eric Martin, Dathula Barron, Brenda Miller Galloway, Wayne Lash, Deborah Ford, and I pitched in 2 cents. And if I miss somebody, please, just holler it out. Who did I miss? Joyce Irving, you're right. I kept saying I'm missing somebody's name. Joyce and David and Jean, all of them grew up right there behind us. Oh, that's my other little sister. James P. Head Miller. All right. Yeah, that's right. Thank you all so very, very much. If you still like to make a donation, it's not too late. The market's paid for, but there are other many things that Paisley Alumni does in the communities you've heard. They're right over there. Please go in, sign up, register, make a donation. Also, Paisley set up free COVID testing site right over here at the trailer. If you'd like to get a free COVID test following this, please step right over there. Woo! Is that enough? I guess. Eileen told me cut. All right, my big sister said cut. Thank you all so much. I love you. Thank you for the memories, the neighborhood. Thank you again, everybody. Love y'all. Enjoy your life. Keep it rolling.